Good morning. The Appellate Division, First Department, is now in session. My colleagues and I welcome you all to these virtual admissions ceremonies. Ms. Guerrero, would you please proceed?
May it please the court. Good morning. I, Veronica Guerrero, counsel to this court's Committee on Character and Fitness. I'm honored to present 34 applicants to the court for admission to the bar. Each of these applicants has met all of the requirements necessary for admission to the New York State Bar. Further, I am pleased to report that the committee has examined the records of each and every applicant here today. Accordingly, and on behalf of the committee, I certify that each applicant here this morning does possess the requisite character and fitness to merit admission to the bar of the state of New York. Therefore, I do hereby move for their admission.
Thank you. Before the court rules on your motion, I want to take this opportunity to thank the members of the Committee on Character and Fitness for the excellent job that they do and have done to assure that the candidates before us here today are well qualified for admission. The committee's work is very important to us, and they honor us by serving pro bono. It is greatly supported by the justices of the court. I would ask you to please relate this message to the members of the committee when you have a moment, when you're free to do so, Ms. Guerrero. Now let's turn to the motion that's before the court. Justice Cardozo famously said that justice delayed is justice denied. And normally when we have motions of such great importance before us, we take our time in making sure that we get it right. But we know we have it right. And my colleagues have authorized me to immediately grant the motion so that you can be admitted to the bar of the state of New York. The oath will now be administered by Margaret Zoa, the Deputy Clerk of our court.
Good morning, Justice Gish. Good morning, candidates. Candidates, please raise your right hand. I'll recite the oath in the form of a question. At the end, I'll ask you to unmute your microphones and respond by saying, I do. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and to faithfully discharge the duties of the office of attorney and counsel at law according to the best of your ability? Please respond by saying, I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
Congratulations, attorneys. You may lower your right hand and please remute your microphones.
And at this time, I'm going to ask my colleagues to unmute their microphones so that we can give you a hearty round of congratulations. I think that we all agree this is a good way to start a Monday morning. It is customary for one of our justices to give some welcoming remarks. And at this time, that honor falls to me. So it's a privilege to address you on this important and I believe hopeful occasion on your admission to the practice of law in the state of New York. In the last 2 years, a time in which you all have professionally come of age, we have held these ceremonies virtually. At first, when we did this, I couldn't help but remarking on the uniqueness of a virtual ceremony. But now, after 2 years, these virtual ceremonies are no longer unique. They reflect more of a change in the way we now do the business of law. Still, I think we need to reflect on what are we to make of these changes and what do they portend for not only your future, but the future of the legal profession. About a year ago, you could have expected your admission to the New York State Bar to take place in our beautiful and historic courtroom. And you see a picture of this lovely courtroom behind each and every of the justices that is presiding at the ceremony. This courtroom has been open to the public since 1900, and it's a courtroom in which such legal luminaries as Supreme Court Justices Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan were admitted. So we need to ask, is your rite of passage fundamentally different because historically we held these ceremonies in person, and now my colleagues and I only see you in boxes on our computers? The answer is, it is not. Your rite of passage, your admission to the bar of the state of New York in this virtual world, is no less historic, no less consequential, and no less hopeful than if it had occurred in a brick and mortar courthouse, even one as majestic as the First Department. Although, as an aside, I'll just say, I hope you have the opportunity to come visit us here, because it is quite a lovely courtroom and one worth you coming to see it. But in terms of these admission ceremonies, we understand that the virtual admissions, they're really an outgrowth of the health pandemic that we all faced. But more than that, right now, they are the beginning of a new legal environment in which virtual access to each other in the court proceedings are our future. In fact, there are hearings all over the state this year for a committee called Reimagining the Future of the Courts, and the discussion of virtual proceedings is very much on the minds of everybody. Virtual proceedings, they hold a promise that if we do it right, no matter who they are or where we are, anybody can pursue justice, as long as we make sure that they have access to the computers and the physical equipment that allows them to gain access. And that's true for people in the city. It's also true for people in rural parts of our state. But I want you to understand, too, that virtual proceedings, they hold a responsibility, one that falls to you, to ensure that the principles guiding the rule of law, whether in a virtual world or in person, are upheld. As we continually learn, justice is more than our physical courthouses. It is the ideals pursued by lawyers like you to ensure and protect the rights of all people. You stand at the doorway, virtual or otherwise, of this and many other ways in which this time-honored profession of law will be evolving in important and positive ways. Your contribution to that evolution will be great. When considering what your role in the legal profession will be and what contributions you will make, I also urge you to make some time to serve the needs of people who do not have the same access to justice that we all have. Pro bono service is a time-honored tradition among lawyers. As the great jurist Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, if you're going to be a lawyer and just practice your profession, you have a skill, very much like a plumber. But if you want to be a true professional, you will do something outside yourself. So that makes life better for those less fortunate. Today, I also remind you that although this ceremony represents a great personal accomplishment by each of you, your greatest accomplishments still lay before you. Make the most of the future to accomplish your goals. Great opportunity awaits you all. My colleagues and I congratulate you and wish you well. This session of the Appellate Division is now closed.
Thank you to the bench. To Ms. Soha, they will log off, and all the new attorneys will stay on with me.